Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Dijon for this scientific conference as part of the French Presidency of the EU and with the Green Week approval. My name is Christian Wig. I'm Scientific Director for Agriculture at INRAE, and I'm in charge of this introductory session. This conference is jointly organized by the French Priority Research Program named Growing and Protecting Differently, not to say zero pesticide, and by the European Research Alliance towards a chemical pesticide-free agriculture that today is gathering 34 research organizations from 20 European countries. Our scientific conference, as part of the EU, which is quite a very, very strong symbol showing that research is really an important issue for research in France. Our scientific conference is dedicated to a review of all advances and all questions in crop protection in order to ensure the production of safe and nutritional food that has to be affordable to all. And all this while reducing very significantly the use of pesticide, and through this reduction, reducing the impact on the environment or even improving the status of the environment. As such, this scientific conference is completely in line with the objectives of the Green Deal, one of those objectives being reducing by 50% the use of pesticide and by 50% the use of hazardous pesticide by 2030, which means more or less tomorrow morning. This introductory session will include 3 talks, first from the President of the Regional Council of the region here, Bourgogne-Franche-Comté in French, then the French Minister of Agriculture, and finally from the European Commission. The whole conference will be in English after, but the introductory session includes a talk in French by the President of the region, and I will translate. So I invite Madame Marie-Guite DUFAY, Présidente de la Région, to join me on the stage.
Bienvenue à tous, ici à Dijon, ici en Bourgogne-Franche-Comté. Nous sommes une terre de scientifiques et cette année 2022, c'est l'année du bicentenaire de la naissance de Louis Pasteur. Donc c'est une année dans laquelle nous avons à cœur plus que jamais de célébrer les liens entre la recherche scientifique et notre société.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to welcome you in Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, land of great scientists, and 2022 is for us the year of the bicentenary of the birth of Louis Pasteur. This is a year in which we are more keen than ever to celebrate the links between scientific research and our society.
Vers une agriculture sans pesticides. C'est un sujet qui m'est cher, qui m'est doublement cher. D'abord, parce que l'agriculture occupe dans notre région une place très singulière. Elle est ancrée dans l'ADN de nos territoires. Elle est riche de ses diversités et de ses productions qui en font la 4e région agricole de France, avec plus de 30 000 agriculteurs. Et je dis doublement parce que dans cette région, dans cette collectivité que je préside, le Conseil régional de Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, nous sommes engagés avec beaucoup de détermination dans la préservation de notre biodiversité.
Reducing to a pesticide-free agriculture is a subject that is very, very important for Mrs. President, because agriculture occupies a unique place in this region. It is anchored in the DNA of our territories, rich in its diversity and its production, which makes this region the 4th agricultural region in France, with more than 30,000 active people. This is obviously an opportunity and also a responsibility to meet the objective of the entire economic sector, whose mission is to feed the population, but the challenges are numerous, including the fight against climate change and the restoration of biodiversity.
Les négociations européennes sur la nouvelle PAC ont abouti à un renforcement net de la dimension environnementale et climatique de cette programmation. Cette PAC est également placée sous l'égide des stratégies européennes de la ferme à l'assiette et de la stratégie en faveur de la biodiversité. Ainsi, le pacte vert européen fixe comme objectif la réduction des pesticides de 50% à l'horizon 2030. Pour cela, la région Bourgogne-Franche-Comté prend toute sa responsabilité, notamment lors de la prochaine programmation du FEADER sur les années 2023-2027. Et c'est par exemple une évolution de plus de 76% du budget en faveur de l'agroécologie. C'est la volonté de préserver la biodiversité en bonifiant l'agriculture biologique, pas l'agriculture à haute valeur environnementale.
The European negotiations on the next and the new CAP has resulted in a clear reinforcement of the environmental and climate dimension of this programming. It is also placed under the aegis of the European Farm to Fork strategy and the biodiversity strategy. Thus, the European Green Pact, Green Deal, sets the objective of reducing pesticide by 50% in 2030. The Bourgogne-Franche-Comté region will take its share of responsibility during the next FEADER programming from the years 2023 to 2027. It is, for example, an increase of more than 76% of the budget in favor of agroecology and the will to preserve biodiversity by improving the support to organic farming, which means going beyond the high environmental value.
La diminution de l'usage des pesticides n'est pas un saut dans le vide. L'objectif est atteignable si nous nous en donnons collectivement les moyens, mais le contexte géopolitique actuel ne nous aide pas. Flambée du prix des grains et des entrants, nécessité d'augmenter les capacités de production agricole face aux conséquences de la guerre en Ukraine, volonté de préserver la biodiversité, comment tout cela est-il compatible? Faut-il choisir entre sécurité alimentaire et sécurité sanitaire, en sachant néanmoins, en n'oubliant jamais que les pesticides seraient le premier moteur du déclin de la biodiversité d'après les experts de l'IPBES.
Reducing the use of pesticide is not a jump in the unknown. The objective is achievable if we collectively mobilize the resource, but the current geopolitical context does not help us. Increasing the grain and the increasing grain and input price, the need to increase the agricultural production capacity and at the same time preserving biodiversity. So should we choose between food security and health security? The answer is no. Pesticides are the primary driver of biodiversity decline according to the IPBES experts.
Et malheureusement, la France n'est pas une bonne élève. Elle qui a mis en place plusieurs plans éco-phyto qui sont loin d'avoir atteint leurs objectifs, puisque l'utilisation des produits phytosanitaires a grimpé de 25% ces 10 dernières années et de 22% pour la seule année 2015. En Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, l'utilisation de produits phytosanitaires est plutôt faible au regard de la surface agricole, mais les disparités entre les types de cultures et de production sont très importantes. Cela s'explique par la concomitance entre les cultures céréalières et la prédominance dans notre région de la prairie autour de la filière du comté et de l'élevage allaitant.
Unfortunately, regarding the objective, France is not a good student or is not doing very well. We have implemented several so-called eco-phyto plans, which are far from having achieved their full objectives, since the use of phytosanitary products in total volume increased by 25% over the last 10 years, and with huge variation among years, for instance, an increase of 15% in 2015. In Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, the use of phytosanitary product is rather low in relation to the total agricultural acreage, but the disparities between the type of crops and productions are still significant, and the low volume per acre is explained by the predominance of grassland in the area where we are producing the famous Comté cheese and with the dominating suckling livestock.
Les alternatives existent, progressent, elles doivent être soutenues, encouragées. Je pense particulièrement ici, puisque nous sommes à Dijon, à une culture qui nous est très très chère, la moutarde. Nous accompagnons la filière moutarde pour qu'elle puisse se départir des pesticides. Sa survie en dépend. Alors nous avons besoin de vous, fondamentalement de vous. Les recherches, les expérimentations, les sites pilotes de référence et de démonstration doivent être accompagnés, et c'est ce que nous faisons avec force. Ici, il y a un travail conjoint des chercheurs, des acteurs du secteur agricole, mais aussi de tout un écosystème d'innovation technologique au service de l'agroécologie. Je pense au pôle de compétitivité Vitagora et à l'incubateur de start-up dans le domaine agricole Agronov. Et je pense à l'unité expérimentale du domaine des Poisses à Bretenière, que vous aurez l'occasion de visiter demain, que vous aurez la chance de découvrir demain, parce que c'est vraiment un lieu extraordinaire. Nous avons la chance d'avoir ce lieu dans notre région, et son aura va bien au-delà de notre territoire. Et ce lieu de recherche, d'expérimentation est ancré directement dans notre territoire, au contact du monde agricole et de l'environnement. Et j'ai vraiment conscience, et je suis très très reconnaissante à sa directrice et à l'équipe qui est derrière le travail qui s'y fait, parce que c'est à partir de cette démarche que des changements concrets peuvent se mettre en place dans les pratiques agricoles en matière de culture des sols, dans le respect de la biodiversité et des hommes.
Alternatives exist and their use is increasing. They must be supported, they must be encouraged. And I'm particularly thinking of a crop that is important for our region, that is mustard. You all know about the famous moutarde de Dijon. We support the sector so that it can get rid of the pesticide. Its survival depends on it. And we are definitely waiting and looking forward to have more research being done. Research and experimentation, pilot reference, demonstration site must be supported. This is possible here in our region thanks to the joint work of researchers, actors in the agricultural sector, but also a full ecosystem of technological innovation at the service of agroecology. I am thinking of the Vitagora Competitiveness Cluster and the Agronov Agricultural Startup Incubator. I also think to the experimental unit at Epoisses, run by INRAE, which you will have the opportunity to visit tomorrow. We are fortunate, we are lucky to have in our region a research and training center that is famous, and that we can see that its aura goes far beyond our borders, but it is also deeply anchored in our territories. In our territory, in direct contact and daily contact with the actors involved in agriculture and environment. And I'm very grateful to the director of this unit and to the president of the center, because thanks to their investments, we can meet and answer to what is at stake, which is the actual change of agricultural practices in terms of soil cultivation with respect for biodiversity and for people.
Je disais, nous avons besoin de vous, nous avons besoin de la recherche. Et dans notre conseil régional, nous sommes en train de créer un groupe d'experts sous le format du GIEC, mais aussi une démarche d'expertise avec la mise en place d'une convention citoyenne régionale sur le climat. Alors, je sais que l'INRAE de Bourgogne-Franche-Comté organise des sessions de visite et d'initiation à l'agroécologie pour les écoles et les jeunes en formation agricole. C'est très, très important. Je suis vraiment reconnaissante aux équipes de l'INRAE d'aller dans ce sens-là. Je vois, au fur et à mesure des années, au Salon de l'agriculture, comment les esprits changent et combien les jeunes sont de plus en plus demandeurs de faire évoluer les pratiques. Il faut véritablement les encourager. C'est par ce changement générationnel, je pense, qu'on arrivera à bousculer les habitudes.
So we definitely need the input from research, and as elected official, we need to feed our reflections thanks to your work. In the region, we are also in the process of creating a group of experts in the region on the same format as the IPCC, but also in the process of setting a group of regional citizens convention on the climate to build up on participatory expertise. I know that the INRAE in Bourgogne-Franche-Comté organizes visits and initiation to agroecology for school for young people in their agricultural training courses. I can clearly see when I meet our high school student, for example, in the agricultural fair, that they are asking for changes in practices, changes in their practices, and they must be encouraged and supported so that the generational change that is taking place is also a change in the farming method.
Nous avons besoin de la recherche et nous avons besoin de politiques publiques ambitieuses sur la qualité et la plus-value des productions agricoles, sur la protection de la biodiversité terrestre et aquatique, mais aussi sur la lutte contre le gaspillage alimentaire. Et c'est le combat que nous menons ici dans notre région, dans nos lycées, pour augmenter la part de la nourriture bio dans les assiettes des lycéens.
We need agronomic research and we need ambitious public policies on the quality and on the added value of agricultural products, on the protection of territorial and aquatic biodiversity, and also on the reduction of food waste. This is the action we lead in our schools to increase in return the share of organic food on the plates.
Je ne veux pas être plus longue. Ce qui est important, c'est vraiment le travail qui est le vôtre. Je veux ici non pas vous faire un discours, mais vous exprimer ma reconnaissance par rapport à vos travaux. Et vous souhaitez donc, sur ce sujet si important pour notre société, vous souhaitez eh bien, de très bons travaux inspirants pour les politiques publiques. Merci à vous.
I won't be too long. I am therefore grateful to you, to your work, for the scientific work that you are carrying, and I give you all my support. I wish you a very good conference and a pleasant stay in Bourgogne-Franche-Comté and in Dijon. Thank you. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
So now I invite on the stage Emmanuelle SOUBEYRAN. So Emmanuelle, please join me on the stage. Emmanuelle is Deputy General Director of the General Directorate for Food at the Ministry of Agriculture. She's extremely familiar with all the issues related both to crop protection and also to the reduction of use of pesticide, and as she has been involved in the many early steps of the Ecofito plan, and she is going to give her address on behalf of our new Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Marc Fesneau, who was appointed as the new minister 10 days ago. Emmanuelle, the floor is yours.
Bonjour à tous, Madame la Présidente de région, Mesdames, Messieurs. Je vais continuer mon discours en anglais. It is a great pleasure for me to be with you today and to introduce this European Scientific Conference towards pesticide-free agriculture, organized, as it was said, as part of the official program of the French Presidency of the Council of the European Union. I would first like to thank the organizers, the French National Institute for Research on Agriculture, Food and the Environment, INRAE, and its partners, the National Research Program Cultivating and Protecting Differently, the European Research Alliance Toward an Agriculture Without Chemical Pesticides, and Univers Science. I would also like to underline the commitment of the city of Dijon and the Région Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, which I thank for their welcome and their contribution to this event. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Sovereignty, it's the new name of our minister, Monsieur Marc Fesneau, could not attend the meeting and asked me to apologize his absence for this event, and I wish you, of course, a very fruitful conference. This conference is the unique opportunity to bring together researchers from all over the countries of the European Union, and maybe more, I don't know, around the issue of reducing the use and risk of pesticides, of plant protection products or pesticides. As a policymaker, I can assure you that research work is essential to inform public authorities so that they are able to define and conduct public policy in the best possible way and with the best possible target. To begin with, let us underline the progress already made in recent years with regard to the drastic reduction in the use of the most worrying active substance. In France, for example, since 2017, the quantity sold of active substances that are carcinogenic, mutagenic, and toxic to reproduction, the so-called CMR substances, have decreased by a quarter, and for the most dangerous substances, the CMR 1, this reduction amounts to two-thirds. And in addition, the growing share of biocontrol products has been confirmed, and the coverage of uses has increased, as shown by one of the monitoring indicators of the National Biocontrol Strategy, with 54% of uses in France covered by at least one biocontrol solution by December 2021. These regulatory improvements were based on scientific studies and environmental data that enable to assess the risk and impacts of active substances and to reduce their use and associated risks. This tool and knowledge, even if they have been constantly progressing and are becoming more reliable, are still called upon to improve. Each time, it is necessary to adopt an agile approach that allows us to adapt to new problems. And from this point of view, the results of the research, whether on the findings, on the impact, or on the solution, lead to deepening and reorienting the research work. Indeed, why do we need research on this topic? Well, because there is still a lot of work to do, and the president of the region said it. And because it is not so easy. It is not so easy to characterize sometimes the impact of pesticide. It is not easy to reduce the use of pesticides, to find solution, and integrated pest management is more complicated than application of pesticides, you all know that. It is not so easy to transfer and to convince farmers to adopt new strategies and solutions. And it is not easy to explain to an EU producer that we won't authorize the use of a pesticide and at the same time that we will import products that have been treated by the same pesticides in a third country. This is why today, Today's conference is important. It will confront us all collectively and acutely with the challenges that remain to be met to further reduce the use and risk of pesticides. Challenges that also arise at the European level and international level to pursue the objective of making our current food system less dependent on chemical pesticides and at the same time increase independency and sovereignty of Europe, which is very important, and we speak a lot about that recently. A strong and united European Union is indeed essential to move forward together in meeting the ambitious objectives set by the Green Deal with the Farm to Fork strategy and biodiversity strategy for 2030. And in order to be able to reconcile economic development with climate and environment ambitions, it is necessary to share the result of everyone, of all of you, at the European level, especially in research. The work that will take place over the next 2 days will therefore be precious in contributing to the evolution of the European agricultural model and in moving towards convergence of the trajectories of European countries towards a reduction in the use of pesticides. In particular, they will provide input for the revision of the Directive on the Sustainable Use of Pesticides, la Directive SUD. The adoption of this legislative initiative has been postponed to the end of June, and the work on the revision will be initiated during the Czech presidency, and not the French one, which begins next month. It is a major regulatory text setting out the framework of the use of pesticide. Its revision will have to be science-based and on the state-of-the-art of research. The integrated pest management is the central axis of this directive. And I know that you will speak a lot about the IPM Works project. It will be presented to you today, and this project is very important because it allows to raise awareness and to promote the adoption of integrated crop protection strategy by the creation of a network of farmers on a European scale. And this is a good example of what we should do more, maybe. And the result of this research project, and more broadly those of all projects that will affect the reduction of pesticide, will feed reflection on the evolution of the regulation at the European level. Research is indeed crucial to guide public action, both at the European level and, of course, at national level. In France, the government is committed to help farmers to implement transition, and particularly the agroecological transition. Thus, the government is deploying significant financial resources to promote the development of large-scale research projects and to ensure that this work feeds into public action. The French public authorities have implemented measures to reduce the risk and impact of pesticide on human health and the environment, as well as its use, notably for various plants, and more particularly through the eco-phyto plants that Madame la Présidente de Région explained since 2009. And these have allowed to support private and public research and innovation, to prove in the field with farmers group the feasibility of implementing solutions that are more virtuous for our environment and our health. And the next step is the transfer. When you have proved it, after you need to transfer. And to support the transfer of this solution on a larger scale. Initiating and directing questions to pesticide research, experimenting and demonstrating solutions in the field, and finally spreading and transferring good practices is the classic triptych that characterizes the key stages of research and innovation. However, research is conducted over a medium and long term, whereas agricultural practices and societal expectation requires rapid results in the short term. And reconciliating this timetable is a fundamental challenge. This is one of the reasons why substantial resources have been mobilized to support what we call the third agricultural revolution. For France, it means accelerating the emergence of solutions through research aimed at making our agriculture less dependent on chemical inputs. We can mention the Future Investment Programme, le programme d'investissement d'avenir, which, for example, the Priority Research Programme, Grow and Protect Differently, cultiver et protéger autrement, which will be presented too, which has been allocated 30 million euro for a period of 6 years. The agricultural and food acceleration strategies that implement the France 2030 plan took over in 2021. In total, more than 800 million will be deployed over 5 years, with two ambitions: to develop innovative solutions for the resilience and competitiveness of the agricultural world in the agroecological transition, and the second is designing and developing solutions for a more sustainable and healthier food supply. The objective of this strategy is to accelerate research and development of disruptive technology with a view to widespread deployment in the service of healthy, high-quality food. Within these strategies, there are priority research programs and equipment that we call PEPR that have been launched. And for example, 95 million euro are led by INRAE and INRAE on genetic and varietal selection, including new breeding techniques and digital agricultures. Both are very important subjects in order to be able to get rid of pesticides. All these measures at medium and long term are medium and long term and will gradually produce effect in terms of deployment and transfer of research solutions. There are indicators that shows that the transfer is already underway, even though it is not finished at all, as Madame la Présidente de Région said. 12% of French farms are committed to organic farming, which is 3 times more than in 2010. The high environmental value certification has also developed strongly with 19,000 certified farms in July 2021, and the 3-year average of the use of active substance in 2018-2020 compared to 2009 and 2011 is down by 9% in comparison. The result of our research, of your research, will enable us to improve the level of public action in terms of management in order to continue to better take into account the impact on pesticides and to support research and the deployment of alternative solutions in order to eventually drastically reduce the use of pesticides. I would like to mention 2 very concrete examples on which research has guided the decision taken by the public authorities and which have made it possible to reduce the use of chemical pesticides. The first one is the control method using trichogramma releases. They are now widely deployed on corn crops. Thanks to the research and development carried out by public and private organizations, the improvement of breeding and packaging techniques have allowed the development of diffusers that contain trichogramma at different stages of development to ensure staggered releases and cover the anti-egg laying period of the borer. This method provides effective protection against the corn borer on about 130,000 hectares and can replace the use of insecticides. Another example is the use of chemical mediators, which have shown good results in the control of colding moth. New developments are expected in the coming years, in particular the work carried out by INRAE on the understanding of the olfactory recognition mechanisms of insects should make it possible to identify mixtures likely to induce behavior change in the large number of insect families. In conclusion, I will say that it is essential to develop research to find solutions, wherever agronomic, systemic, or substitution solution, as we have just seen before. Today and tomorrow, you will share your results, discuss on the gap and on the need regarding research program. As a policymaker, I would like to highlight major concerns we face. The first one is how can we, regulatory bodies and researchers, better work together in better anticipating the withdrawal of active substances. It is necessary to accelerate the search for alternative solutions because it is not possible, or it is difficult to impose bans to farmers without solution that could and this ban could weaken our agricultural sector. So there is it is urgent if we want the farmers to accept the transition. Then the second question I have is how can we better mobilize the social and human science in facilitating the appropriation of the alternative solution by the farmers? So we said it in Ecofito, we did a lot of demonstration that it was possible, but what is difficult is to go further. So maybe we need other kind of science, and especially the social and human sciences. We spoke a lot these last days on One Health, which was recently emphasis on or transdisciplinarity. And I think on our subject, the subject we are dealing today, which is, for me, is completely integrated in a One Health concept and One Health approach, interdisciplinarity, global approach, and mondial approach is also necessary. And how can we do it better? And then another question which is more focused is the question of how can researchers can help evaluators in the field of assessment method, assessment of pesticides, which we just had an example a few days ago. There is still some difficulties to assess some specific impact. So as we see, as the previous speaker said it, we need you. Mobilization of research and researchers constitute the scientific basis for public policies. The mobilization is all the more fertile and sustainable when it results from partnership between several European research units. And this is why I hope that initiatives like the one today will be regularly renewed in the years to come. And I praise the work of all the actors involved in this ambitious project. And I wish you a very fruitful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuelle, for your words. It shows how complex is the question between research, innovation, public policy, and how we make a decision where the perimeter is very, very broad and goes far beyond the farmers. And to conclude this introductory session, we have the chance to share a video message from the Commissioner at Agriculture at the European Commission, Mr. Janusz WOJCIECHOWSKI. We thank him very much for his address, which shows, and you will see how important the topic is for Europe and in the European agenda with the Green Deal and the various strategies we already heard about this morning. And also, as mentioned by Emmanuelle just a few minutes ago, the coming revision of the directive related to sustainable use of pesticide, the number being 2009-128. It's very important to know that. And revision of this directive towards a regulation will be on the table and will be probably published by the end of this month. So could you show the video, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank INRAE for the invitation. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to give an opening speech at this conference. I'm very sorry that I cannot join you in Dijon in person for this occasion. Still, the latest developments concerning the war and the related food security issues are currently very much occupying my agenda. The unprecedented Russian military aggression against Ukraine has reminded us of the importance of ensuring food security at all times within the EU and across the globe. Food sustainability is an integral part of food security. We face grand sustainability challenges linked to agriculture in the present and the future. To name a few, we need to foster climate mitigation and adaptation, protect and restore biodiversity, improve soil health, reduce environmental footprint, ensure a sustainable livelihood for primary producers, shift to healthy and sustainable diets. Clearly addressing all these sustainability challenges, as outlined in the European Green Deal, is our only path to ensure food security and the resilience of food systems in the long term. This is strongly recognized and reinforced in our recent communication on safeguarding food security and reinforcing the resilience of food systems. The Farm to Fork strategy lays out its vision for fair, healthy and environmentally friendly food systems, setting key targets that we need to meet by 2030 if we are serious about achieving this aim. This audience is very much aware of these ambitious targets and the challenges ahead. We need to reduce the use and risk of pesticides, considerably the use of fertilizers, antimicrobials and nutrient losses, and increase the European Union area under organic production. We have powerful tools such as research and innovation to accelerate the progress required to achieve the challenging targets. We do also not start from scratch. We have a long-term strategy for EU agriculture research and innovation, which is turned into actions through two European policies, the Framework Programme for Research and Innovation and the Common Agriculture Policy. Within Horizon 2020, over 30 projects have been working on keeping our crops healthy with a reduced use of chemical pesticides, with an investment of over 160 million euros. Some of them will exchange during the workshop this Friday. These EU-funded projects are already making an impact on the Farm to Fork targets. To stepping up the adoption of integrated pest management practices, the Commission is funding the Horizon 2020 project, IPM works coordinated by INRAE. The 6 million euros project is setting an EU-wide farmers network to further improve and promote better practices for pest management, demonstrating reduced use of pesticides with better pest control, reduced costs and enhanced profitability. I would like to highlight the role of INRAE in agricultural research. The institution has contributed so far to several EU-funded research and innovation projects in agriculture, focusing on pesticide reduction, agroecology, soil health, organic farming, among other priority issues in the EU agenda. In addition, INRAE has led the establishment of the European Research Alliance towards a chemical pesticide-free agriculture. Let me assure you that we will further build on the results of Horizon 2020 in the framework of Horizon Europe. For new knowledge and innovative solutions, Horizon Europe earmarks about €9 billion in 2021-2027 for research and innovation related to agriculture, food, the bioeconomy and the environment. The foreseen investment is considerable and substantially higher than under previous framework programs. With Horizon Europe, we will bring agriculture, research and innovation to the next level. We are more or less doubling the level of investments made in the previous program, Horizon 2020, in the area of agriculture. The new Horizon Europe tools, the missions and especially the A Soil Deal for Europe mission and the candidate research and innovation partnership of the EU with the member states, such as the agroecology and the agriculture of data partnerships, will all bring new research and innovation solutions and new methods for engaging with the different actors of the sector. To maximize the impact of the research and innovation investments on the ground, we reinforce the multi-actor approach at the end-user orientation, bridging the gap between science and practice. Scientific results need to be converted into practical tools and information for farmers, advisors, and agricultural stakeholders. Farmers, with the help of advisors, have to get involved already in the stage of developing knowledge and innovation to ensure this stage leads into usable results. Over 420 innovation projects of EIP agri-operational groups have been working on developing local solutions to reduce the use of chemical pesticides in a genuinely multi-stakeholders approach, involving farmers, advisors, researchers, as well as businesses, NGOs, and others. Up to date, over 2,100 operational groups have been established across the EU. To conclude, given the enormous sustainability challenges for the agriculture of today and tomorrow, we need to significantly step up efforts and accelerate the twin green and digital transition. I wish you fruitful discussions, and I hope this conference will yield another critical step towards achieving the Green Deal targets. Thank you.
We are very grateful to the Commissioner for his very clear and very committed talk, and his very supportive words toward our research community. So I'm now closing this introductory session that clearly stress the tremendous challenges we have to meet, but also the huge demand for innovation and for support to public policies, and as such the tremendous, huge, large, the word you want, expectation from research, but also the huge amount of money that is invested in research, and this is all good news. And I am pleased to give the floor to Johanna Morion, who is going to be our Master of Ceremony throughout the whole day. So, Johanna, the floor is yours.